Yo, it's Mike, and I got a question for y'all. Now see, you got Sonic the Hedgehog and One Piece. What do they have in common? Aside from the chaotic, freedom-loving dudes going on adventures, making many friends along the way, saving people from various tyrants, mad scientists, pirates, monsters, corrupt government shenanigans with genetic experiments and genocide. Ancient civilizations falling to ruin we could learn from prophecies from said dead civilizations, the moon not really just being a moon, both worlds having multiple moons. In fact, the furries are getting super forms out here, islands are getting blown to Kingdom Come, there's crazy, varied locations with technology gaps that are insane, walking natural disasters, giant-ass animals, making Vikings your homies, making princesses your homies, making robots your homies, stupid strong willpower, and to top it all off, they both heavily inspired by Dragon Ball. Okay, so they have a lot in common, damn. But hear me out though. See, I had this thought about this potential crossover months ago, and after seeing this video covering a similar what if with Goku in One Piece, I thought I'd come back to this and go over it more. So I came up with these three methods here. Method 1. One Piece but with Sonic in it. Ends up traveling with the Straw Hats and sort of becomes a crewmate of sorts. No way he'd side with the Marines when we be seeing a corruption from like Full Body and Nezumi. This was my initial idea, and it kind of went from Syrup Village to Lugtown before I stopped. Method 2. More Sonic characters get introduced over time along with elements of the Sonic world ending up transported to the One Piece world, parts of zones appearing on islands, creatures from Sonic world try to adapt, Chaos Emeralds shake up the world order when people realize how busted they are, etc. Sonic could split off and make his own pirate crew with his friends while still teaming up with the Straw Hats sometimes. So that's kind of weird. I'm still kind of working that out. And then there's Method 3, which is just incorporating Sonic stuff into the One Piece universe outright, like making Sonic and friends minks. Well, at least the mammals. I'm not sure what to do with like the bugs and reptiles. And zones would be islands, if not like the whole islands themselves just being like there. Chaos Emeralds are part of the lore and abused by the world government perhaps, and so on. Any of these scenarios, I can see Eggman either building up his own faction, working with the world government for their resources like Vegapunk does, but with more malevolent goals, or working with one of the emperors as a subordinate with his own agenda that should kickstart should they fall. How other villains would come into play would depend on how they adapt to the world of One Piece, as I can see some just joining the criminal underworld and doing their own thing, or try to start up their own faction, like say the Battlebird Armada, or Mephiles the Dark. I totally see the Battlebirds kind of just doing some German 66 type stuff. Though, seeing the Deadly Six get a reality check from someone like Shanks would be funny though. I would pay to see them get the Eustace Kid treatment. If I were to follow through on such a what-if scenario, though, I would likely go with Scenario 2, since that leaves the most crossover potential. I have imagined how Scenario 1 would go with Sonic meeting the Straw Hats on the island of rare animals, sort of his starting point. The joke being that, well, he's a hedgehog man, so it kind of fits. And then all the way up to Lugtown. And while it was entertaining to imagine how Sonic would react to stuff like the Straw Hats' antics and various pirate villains of the East Blue, genuine Marines and corrupt Marines, like the jokes you could make with him on this place, I can't help but wonder how it would have gone with the possibility of having his own friends showing up as well, whoever it may be. Some stuff I like to see that I did imagine Scenario 1 includes like Sonic versus Luffy initially, with like both of them surprising each other with their speed and rubber power respectively. We saw pirates geeking out over Sonic's skills, Sonic ordering hella food at Baratier trying to pay it off with rings, and Zeph assuming that it's just stolen jewelry. Sonic dunking on Pearl when he crashes out so Sonic can focus on fighting Gin or something. Sonic walking to Arlong Park with the rest of the crew. Sonic having a one-on-one talk with Smoker about the Marines' morals while everyone else is on their own side quests in that arc. And who knows how much more you could do after that point, really. So if I ever do this and like write down / make a video series on it or something, I put some rules in place to keep things interesting. Call it a what if variable edition, because I like seeing how many possible outcomes you can get from such a what if. You're welcome to try it if you want for your own video or whatever, so here's my rules for my version. Rule 1. A coin flip to determine whether a Sonic character appears in the current arc or the next arc. If heads, get a character for that arc and flip again next arc. If tails, that arc doesn't get a Sonic character, but the next arc will, and you have to wait till the arc after that to flip again. This way there isn't a guarantee of new Sonic characters showing up every single arc, nor a complete absence of new Sonic characters for several arcs straight. Should your luck just be that bad? I know the feeling. Rule 2. For picking out which character, roll 8-sided dice with numbers assigned to a list of characters that'll change with new characters replacing who was already picked on the list. I'm mainly going with 8-sided dice, and 6 feels a bit low and 20 feels way too high. 3. Rolling a Sonic character does not guarantee that they join the Straw Hats along with Sonic, but if they are friends with Sonic, it's much more likely. I can see Shadow siding with Smoker, perhaps, if anything. Most villain characters will likely side with the One Piece villain of that arc, or leave to who knows where with their own schemes. Chaotix, who knows? Vector could end up a rival to Big News Morgan. You never know with the Chaotix. Depends on what suits the characters, basically. So I say, don't be afraid of weird picks. Mix it up a little. Don't just list Sonic's buddies. Rule 4. Sonic and his friends splitting off into their own crew doesn't have to be a guarantee, but it does seem like something that's likely to happen. I can see it being possible that Sonic kind of prefers to do his own thing instead of just taking orders from Luffy. And even then, they might still ally themselves with the Straw Hats, like a proto-fleet division or something that happens pre-Dressrosa. It's kind of up to your discretion, I guess. Rule 5. When it comes to parts of various zones appearing in the One Piece world, roll a 20-sided dice for each island introduced and pick out a zone from a game with the corresponding number from a list. This leaves a lot of crazy crossover potential. That way, instead of just incorporating whatever fits the arc's islands visually by default. Hopefully I don't put a volcano level in Alabasta. That'd be awkward. Rule 6. Only the first appearance of a zone is listed to prevent repeats. Should a listed game run out of zones, it gets replaced with another game not yet listed. Rule 7. Rolling zone mashups for islands the Straw Hats don't visit still affects who is there, so that should be considered in the story unless it's only in flashbacks, as the Sonic mashup stuff doesn't happen yet. Rule 8. Optional, but default having Green Hill go to the island of rare animals where Sonic is introduced in the scenario, so that more interesting zones don't get snubbed later by it. Yes, it's because of personal bias. If someone else wants to take this idea and put their own little spin on it, I don't mind. It could be fun to watch how someone else could have this what if scenario go down. The rules I set up are mostly just for how I would do it, since there's some surprise in how to make it work instead of just a single scenario with no variation. If you want to strictly stick to like canon manga material for such a what if, or include locations from filler arcs, movies, and even One Piece video games, that's all up to how much longer you want to make this what if, really. I despise you even want to like do the whole thing from just the manga alone. Now, for character roles, my starting list would look a bit something like this. So, slot 1 would have Marine, because it's funny. Slot 2 would have your Sonic Forces OC, if you have one. If not, just use a human character of some kind, doesn't matter where. As long as it's from Sonic. Number 3 is Tails, because that's a lucky number. So you'd be lucky to get him early on. 4 is Fang, which I'm pretty much putting 4 as like a dedicated villain slot because of the death pun. 5 will be Antoine, because I figured I'll throw the non-game canon fans a slot bone and have like a slot just for characters from other continuities besides the games. 6 will be Shadow as a dedicated rival slot. 7 will be Amy, which is also a lucky number, so also very lucky to get her early on. And 8 is Gemerald, which mainly for symbolic reasons. I've been doing research into numbers, and 8 has a lot of significance in some stuff, so I figured a character like Gemerald would actually fit there. I have my reasons for each pick listed, but to each their own. Want to have more non-canon game characters or only game canon characters? It's up to you, I ain't your dad. As for the zone mashup roles, like I said, Green Hill's defaulting to the island of rare animals. But at least that's just how I'm going to list it for mine. As for everything else, well, you select the zone based on the following games, based on the number you roll with a 20-sided dice. So the initial picks I have on here would be, so the number on the dice roll would correspond to like a listed entry. And this list I pretty much curated specifically to have like somewhat of a balance between like classic, boost, adventure eras, like handhelds and all that stuff. You know, so there's some variety. Like I said before, there's no repeats, so like it won't be every level on each of these. It's like the ones that are original to that game. Some might have less levels to pull from than others on this list. As for backup games to replace them, should all the zones in an entry be used, like pretty much just listed most games I could think of. And it should be about every game in this series, but just to be safe, I'll put like a link to something that'll show like every entry with like a full list of every individual zone each game has, just to be safe. These are two special cases, Sonic Shuffle and Sonic Dream Team, because they're both in Dream World, so they probably wouldn't show up under regular circumstances unless it's like, I don't know, Ocean's Dream or Uta World if you're gonna include like the filler in the movies, I don't know. Just something to look out for if you want to include stuff from those. So yeah, that should make about 358 zones overall, unless I start lumping together ARC levels even more than I already have. Or more levels from like I already have the levels from SA2 and Heroes so far. But yeah, that's about 49 games to work with, so that's a lot of zones to pull from. Not running out of them anytime soon if you're applying them to only the islands the Straw Hats visit. Heck, still plenty to work with if rolling for every island that appears in the story overall. Probably even with filler movies in the games on top of that if you really want to push it to the limit, but I doubt most will go that far. As for the full list, I'll put a link in the description or something, I guess. Less work trying to organize all that yourself when I already did it. And that's my idea on a Sonic and One Piece crossover. If you'd like to see me follow through and try this what-if scenario game myself, let me know. I might just do it. You're welcome to try it yourself. Could lead to some fun stories, I think. You know how to do the YouTube stuff. You know how it is. Hope you enjoyed the J.A.M, and later. I just realized I gotta get back to that Sonic timeline video. God damn it, that shit's gonna take forever. Nuts.